If I could have your attention, Media Center, what an honor and a pleasure it is to be joined right now by Nick Sanchez, driver, the #2 Gamebridge Chevrolet in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The 1967 Daytona 500 champion, 1969 Indianapolis 500 winner, and 1978 Formula One champion, Mario Andretti. Nick, you're honoring Mario this weekend with a throwback paint scheme to that 1967 Daytona 500 win. How cool was it when you were told that you're going to be running that paint scheme?
Yeah, you know, like I said, I've been saying all day, you know, I had to keep asking the question again to Christy, just because it's never what I thought, you know, Mario would actually come and support us. And to me, that changes the whole throwback. You know, when it's one thing to, you know, throw back to someone, it's another to have the driver Mario here and with you the whole weekend and supporting it, and I think it's special.
Mario, have you had a chance to take a look at the truck, and what do you think of it?
No, I haven't, quite honestly yet, but I got plenty of pictures. And yeah, I'm, you know, it's very flattering, obviously. You can imagine to be able to ask that, to, you know, represent something, a moment in my career that was so precious. And, you know, brings back all those fun memories, as you can imagine. And being with a team like Nick's here, you know, that's, you know, he as a driver, obviously, has got such a bright future ahead of him. And then the team being, you know, the sponsorship obviously being very much part of my son Michael's team at Indy and all that. So it's all part of almost like the same family, if you will. You know, but this throwback idea, I think, is an excellent idea because the sport is so rich of its history, and to be able to bring back some of the moments, you know, for the teams and the drivers, I think it's totally awesome. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just thrilled that I was invited to the event. So I get a chance to see it firsthand and watch this dude here do his job because he's very good.
That's good. We're going to open the floor up for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start with Jordan. We'll go to Scott.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. A few questions for Mario. Have you seen a race here before?
Have
you seen a race here? Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen a race, but it's a long time ago. It was a long time ago. It was still an oval. You know, but the start-finish line was, you know, on the other side and all that. But you know, the racetrack is left alone the way it should have been, and it's got that history and the specialty in itself, how you drive it and so forth. So yeah, there's something, you know, just watching, you know, what the line is here and how you have to perfect that. This place, you know, doesn't forgive very much, but that's the beauty of it. That's a challenge for every driver. So
you have a lot of experience across all motorsports disciplines. Right now, the collaboration's the big word in motorsports. Everybody kind of working together for the common goal. Your impressions, and is that the way it should be? Is that the way you think is a good thing for motorsports in general?
Crossover, yes. Yeah. I was just chatting, you know, with Nick on the way over, you know, because I just asked him, I said, do you think you might have some interest in, you know, trying something outside? And, you know, he's a young man. I mean, you know, you love challenges. And so, like I said, it's tough because of the NASCAR schedule as it is, you know, but at the same time, you know, the way I found in my career, I mean, motor racing is big, but actually a very close family, and in a sense, and for me to be able to have had the opportunity to try all the different disciplines and go to, you know, different venues, you always feel like, you know, you're at a home that you recognize, and you have friends everywhere. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. It's served me tremendously. I mean, I want to change a thing in my career because of that, to have those opportunities. So yeah.
How's the pursuit of the Formula One team going?
It's going.
You think it's going to happen?
It better.
Go next to Scott.
Mario, Scott Chansey with the Florence Morning News. There's a pair of gloves you donated to the National Motorsports Press Hall of Fame here in Darlington. Do you remember what race you donated those gloves from that you raced in?
And you said you donated a pair of gloves.
Oh, I donated a pair of gloves.
You actually did. I was just curious if you happen to remember what race that was.
I don't remember actually. No, I wish I did.
Guess go next to Alan, then to Pete.
Alan Cavana, I have one for each of you. Nick, I know Mario can't give you much advice about driving at Darlington, but driver to driver is a different conversation than many people can have. What do you ask the driver, Mario Andretti?
Yeah, first of all, I ask him, about the errors he raced in the cars. I had a lot of questions, the old style of F1 and IndyCar and obviously NASCAR. But, just what he values, what he thinks is the most important trait in a driver, asking him that. Certain things back then that still pertain to now, just, the driver understanding the race car and the best source of data is your butt.
Good advice.
Well, actually, I said he needs a nap before the race here. Now we're running him around all over the place here, so that's my advice right now.
I'll take it.
And one for you, Mario. He's a young guy. This is yet another generation of driver you could kind of give advice to, inspire. Do you think about that in terms of your legacy and your resume in racing?
Well, when we talk racing, you can share some things that have been important. For instance, to learn as much as you can about the dynamics of the race car. Not just the aerodynamic, but also the chassis dynamics and everything. Just what really makes the thing tick, and rely on yourself so much with the field. Don't rely on the data and the engineers. I think the input that you can give, you can make your job much easier for yourself if you really apply yourself. Learn what makes these things tick. It makes a big, big difference too, because it's about recognizing the sweet spot and not deviating, knowing exactly where you go from there. Because when you make the minute changes, that's when the big gains are. That means you're close. And Nick, he's on it. He's on that aspect of it, and I think it's something that can serve you very well throughout your career.
Thanks.
Go next to Pete, then to Deb, then to Seth, then to Hunter.
Hi, Mario. Pete Iacobelli from the Associated Press.
Hi, Pete.
Did you ever consider, after your success at the Daytona 500, staying in NASCAR for a little bit of a longer stretch, making it your home for a while? And how do you think you would have fared against the Richard Pettys and the David Pearsons and the great drivers of that era?
Well, in the long term, I don't know. Depending on the teams that you're with and so forth. But my objectives were a little different. I had Formula One in my head, and I really wanted to stay with open wheel, and actually I did quite a bit of sports prototypes, which is as close as that. But for me, the NASCAR thing was just I wanted to get a feel of what it's all about, and at the top level, because there's nothing like that. And I had a great relationship with Ford at the time, through the IndyCar Series and the Le Mans program. So they put me with a, Harman and Moody team. I was with the right place. Freddie Lorenzo, my teammate, and so forth. So I knew I had a good home, and for me, I was in not very familiar grounds, and so I relied on my crew chief, a good old suitcase, and again. But they gave me a car that was in the ballpark immediately. We made a few changes along the way, but the car was fast, and I was able to deal with it. And when you have a fast car, it's at a place like Daytona, you're pretty much halfway there.
Go to Deb.
Suitcase Jake.
Deb Williams, Auto Week.
Hi.
Mario, thank you for joining us today. In regards to what Michael is going through regarding the F1 effort or the Formula One effort, did you ever go through anything like that in your career, maybe when you went to Formula One?
No. First of all, my experience in Formula One was strictly as a driver, and I was always, with established teams. My experience was with Lotus, Ferrari, and so forth. So it was nothing like, Michael's situation nowadays, is to enter as a team owner, and they just they have just different rules among themselves, to allow that to happen. Basically, in the FIA has it that there should be 22 teams on the grid. 12, 12 teams on the grid, 24 cars. And they're resisting that fact. I don't know why, but like I said, it's all a matter of distributing, the monies, from the TV deal and so forth. But they're adding more and more races, in their own schedule in Formula One, and they're crossing continents, and this is quite a big load on all the teams, and to have that many. To have 20, 22 or 24 cars on the grid rather than 20, I think it's almost some insurance, you like to think. And we're bringing in, another manufacturer, General Motors with a Cadillac brand, and that's got to be attractive for any series, quite honestly. Cadillac and General Motors has never been officially in Formula One, historically. And I remember way back when, in the late 60s, when Zora Dantov, the father of the Corvette, I kept telling him, Zora, you have to bring General Motors to Formula One and so forth. He said, Mario, I talk, nobody hear me, that type of thing. But now, they're all committed, and that would be a wonderful thing for motor racing. Let's face it, as international as Formula One is, to have a truly solid American team with, also an engine manufacturer, it's got to be good for them. It's got to be good for them. We're going to have 3 races here, this year, in America. And so no other country on the planet has that. And so why not have a truly, I know Gene Haas has a team, but they never even plan on having any American drivers there. Michael has committed to have at least one American driver always, and also there's no official team that's fielding Formula 3 or Formula 2, and Michael committed to have Formula 3 and Formula 2 team to give some, American talents the opportunity to go to Europe and pursue Formula One. So there's a lot of things at play here, and there's a huge commitment for the long term. So that's where we are.
Go next to Seth, then the Hunter, then the Dustin.
Seth Egger, KickinTires.net. I have one for each of you. Nick, how much of a history lesson is Throwback Weekend for you?
Yeah, it's a huge history lesson, not just my truck, but all the trucks and cars on the grid. And just, talking to Mario, I've probably asked him at least 45 minutes worth of old F1 questions. So it's a big history lesson, learning a lot about racing in the past.
And Mario, you competed with the Wood brothers, with Richard Petty. Have you met with them since you got here?
Well, I saw a couple of the Woods dudes. They're awesome. I've known them, their family since the 60s. That they first came to Indianapolis, and they did all the pit stops for Colin Chapman on that year when Colin won and I finished third. I was Rookie of the Year at Indy. So I got to meet them then, and of course when I, came to NASCAR, and I would have always loved to have had the opportunity to drive for them. We always talk about it, but they're such wonderful family. What they contributed to the sport is immense, and they're still here. And so again, every chance that I get, I like to say hello to them for sure, and I did.
Go next to Hunter.
Mario, Hunter Thomas with thefourthturn.com. What are your thoughts about Darlington Raceway and its historic history? And then what was it like hanging out with the fans earlier and talking to them and signing autographs?
Well, the fans are wonderful, as you can see. I mean, there's a lot of energy out there, and this place, again, it's special. We know that. You know, the lady in black and all that sort of thing, and you know, it requires a totally different style of driving, and again, a very you know, you have to really know what you're doing, you know, riding up there against the wall, and make sure you come back with a stripe, but only a stripe, you know, and so because, you know, you're not leaving anything on the table, you know, but again, you know, it's got all of that, you know, any venue, you know, that has something special like this, for instance, if you can put that trophy on your mantle, believe me, it means an awful lot, and so again, I envy that he's going to win that tonight. Win that trophy.
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Dustin?
Just
Dustin
have
Long.
fun.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Mario, next year's Indianapolis 500 will see Kyle Larson attempt to qualify, and that'll be 10 years after Kurt Busch was the last to do the double. I know we're looking well into the future, but how important is what Kyle Larson will do next year for motorsports in general? And, you know, can that be a pathway for more back and forth, or is the sports too specialized?
You know, it's amazing. Nick and I were just chatting about that, just coming in here, and I think it's so great for the sport in general to have this crossover. And there was a time, you know, way back when, you know, when I drove, where, you know, AJ was here, Parnelli, and others, you know, John Cocker, all those guys. And then well, I'm the one that talked to the Allisons, you know, to come to Indy, and Cale Yarborough and all that. And it was awesome. It was just, it was good for all of us. And I love to see this. I mean, we all know how versatile Kyle can be, how versatile he is. So he's love it. We love to have Jimmy out there, you know, to play around with us, and at Indy cars, I should say. So the crossover is healthy. It's healthy. It's, like I said, we are one big happy family, and we feed off of one another. So I encourage that. Obviously, the schedules are tough, as you can imagine, but nevertheless, when it happens, it's good.
Thank you.
Well, I'd love to keep this conversation going, but Mario has said that
He has to go
Nick
for
needs a nap.
He's gotta
Nick needs a
take
nap. And we've got a
I get
race
you.
tonight here at Darlington Raceway. But again, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to join us. Nick, good luck tonight. And Mario, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much.